Across the hills of Jerusalem, on just 36 acres of stone, lies the most explosive piece of land in human history. Some say a third temple is coming. Some call it myth. Some call it prophecy. And some see signs unfolding right now. As families across the world prepare for Thanksgiving, giving thanks for safety, health, and peace, here, millions live with tension, uncertainty, and the weight of sacred history. Jerusalem is not just another ancient city. It is the beating heart of three major religions: Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. Every street, every stone, and every wall carries stories, prayers, and conflicts that have lasted millennia. At the center of it all lies the Temple Mount, known to Muslims as Haram al-Sharif. This plateau is home to the Golden Dome of the Rock, where Muslims believe the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, ascended during the night journey. Nearby stands the Al-Aqsa Mosque, a sacred place of worship for over 1,000 years. The entire area is administered by the Jordanian Waqfa, which manages access, security, and religious observances. For Jews, this same land is the site of Solomon's first temple, and the second temple expanded by Herod, destroyed by the Romans in 70 CE. Jews cannot freely pray on the Temple Mount itself. Their closest access is the Western Wall, a remnant of the Second Temple. Thousands come daily to pray, leaving notes between the stones, carrying centuries of devotion in every gesture. Christians watch Jerusalem closely as well. Their main holy sites, such as the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and the Mount of Olives, lie elsewhere. Yet the Temple Mount holds symbolic significance tied to biblical prophecy and the end times. For many Christians, every development here is interpreted as a sign of the unfolding timeline of prophecy. This land is not just historical. It is living and breathing. It is contested, watched, and prayed over. And as the world prepares to give thanks this season, these 36 acres are anything but peaceful. Tensions in Jerusalem today are not only political, but spiritual. Every move, every ceremony, every gathering is closely observed. Tourists, pilgrims, scholars, and politicians alike understand the stakes. A shift here could ripple across the globe. Before we can discuss the rumors of a third temple, we must understand the journey this land has taken from Solomon to today, and why it continues to capture hearts, minds, and prophecies. So, to truly understand why the Third Temple is such a flashpoint today, we must travel back more than 3,000 years to the reign of King Solomon. Solomon's first temple was a magnificent symbol of devotion, built to house the Ark of the Covenant and serve as the spiritual heart of the Israelite kingdom. Ancient texts describe its grandeur: gold-covered walls, intricate carvings, and a sacred inner sanctuary where only priests could enter. But no glory lasts forever. The Babylonians conquered Jerusalem, destroyed Solomon's temple, and sent the people into exile. The destruction was not only physical, but deeply spiritual, leaving a void in the heart of a nation. After 70 years, the Second Temple rose from the ruins. Though initially modest, King Herod later expanded it into an architectural marvel that amazed travelers from across the ancient world. This temple became a symbol of Jewish identity, prayer, and hope. Yet it too met a violent end. In 70 CE, the Romans stormed Jerusalem, razed the temple, and left only the Western Wall as a silent witness. Centuries passed. Jerusalem became a prize for empires. The Byzantines ruled, maintaining Christian influence. In 638 CE, Caliph Umar entered Jerusalem, respecting Christian worship while establishing Muslim administration over the Temple Mount. The Umayyad Caliphate built the iconic Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, structures that survive to this day, symbolizing continuity, devotion, and contested power. The city changed hands again and again. Crusaders briefly seized the site, transforming it into churches, only for Saladin to reclaim it for Islam. The Ottomans controlled the region for nearly 500 years, carefully guarding these sacred sites. Every stone on the Temple Mount has witnessed devotion, conquest, and bloodshed. Even today, history resonates in the air. Every gate, every arch, every narrow street of Jerusalem carries centuries of faith and struggle. The Golden Gate, also known as the Eastern Gate, and the Mount of Olives, sites I've explored in previous videos, are not just historical landmarks. They are living symbols of prophecy, anticipation, and sometimes warning. As Thanksgiving approaches, it is striking to reflect. While people gather in warmth and gratitude in homes across the globe, here lies a land where faith, history, and political ambition intersect daily. A place where the stakes are eternal and every decision could ripple for centuries. Understanding this context is essential before we even discuss rumors of a third temple. This deep history sets the stage for the modern tension surrounding Jerusalem. It is not a sudden development, but the culmination of millennia of devotion, conflict, and prophecy. A complex backdrop that makes any talk of a third temple both explosive and inevitable in discussion. With history as our foundation, we now turn to the present, the modern reality of Jerusalem, the ongoing violence in Gaza, and why the world watches every movement on this sacred plateau. Fast forward to 2025. Jerusalem is no longer just an ancient city frozen in history. It is a living, breathing, contested space watched by millions around the globe. At the heart of this tension is the Temple Mount, or Haram al-Sharif, as Muslims call it. Here, the golden dome of the rock gleams above centuries of devotion, and the Al-Aqsa Mosque continues its role as a central place of worship. The Jordanian Waqf administers the site, controlling access, security, and maintenance, maintaining a fragile balance between faiths. For Jews, the Temple Mount is a place of deep longing. Solomon's first temple, Herod's second temple, both destroyed centuries ago, left only the Western Wall, where thousands of prayers are whispered daily. Jews cannot pray freely on the Temple Mount itself, yet their spiritual connection to this stone plateau is undeniable. Christians watch as well. While their primary sacred sites, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and the Mount of Olives, lie elsewhere. Many see the unfolding events on the Temple Mount as symbolic markers of prophecy. And as I've covered in previous videos, the Mount of Olives holds deep significance for end times narratives, so its story is intertwined with what could happen on the Temple Mount. Beyond faith, the present is also marked by violence and geopolitical tension. Gaza has become a flashpoint, where thousands of lives have been lost in recurring conflicts. Each wave of violence sends shockwaves through the Muslim world. Yet the response of powerful nations, some with nuclear capabilities, has often been muted. Analysts and observers ask the same chilling question. If such events unfold now and draw little action, what might happen if a symbolic or physical attempt to rebuild the Third Temple occurs? This silence is not just political. It is a mirror reflecting global hesitation, fear, and uncertainty. And it feeds the prophecy conversations that dominate religious and online discourse. Many speculate that the calm now may be deceptive, a fragile lull before something far larger. Modern claims about the Third Temple only add fuel to the fire. Religious organizations in Jerusalem have prepared ritual items, trained priests, and even bred red heifers for purification. All steps required for temple service according to Jewish law. While these are spiritual preparations rather than physical construction, they are publicly documented, feeding speculation online. Other online claims suggest tunnels beneath Al-Aqsa, secret renderings of temple plans, or ceremonial trials, yet no official government announcement confirms any construction. The ideology and symbolism, however, are very real. Even the smallest act, like a ceremonial gathering or digital model, is scrutinized and interpreted as a sign of imminent action. As Thanksgiving approaches, it's worth reflecting on contrasts. While families gather to give thanks in comfort and peace, Jerusalem remains a city where faith, politics, and prophecy collide daily. Gratitude is celebrated in homes worldwide. Yet here, every stone, every gate, every prayer carries centuries of tension, waiting silently for the next chapter to unfold. With the stage set, history in place, and current realities understood, we are ready to explore Jewish and Islamic prophecies surrounding the Third Temple and how spiritual preparation intersects with modern geopolitics. Now that we understand the history and the present tensions, it's time to examine what both Jewish and Islamic traditions say about the Temple Mount and why prophecy keeps this place at the center of global attention. For Jewish believers, the Third Temple is not simply a structure. It represents a pivotal milestone in the Messianic era, a time when divine presence is restored to the world. Across Jerusalem, organizations have prepared ritual vessels, priestly garments, and ceremonial plans, all aimed at fulfilling ancient prophecy. Some groups even breed red heifers, a sacred requirement for purification rites, and train priests for temple service. These preparations are not secret. They are carefully documented, demonstrating faith, dedication, and ideological readiness. At the same time, Islamic eschatology carries warnings about the Temple Mount. Known as Haram al-Sharif, it is seen as a place of profound spiritual significance. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, spoke over 1400 years ago about times when Jerusalem would face upheaval, shifts in power, and global attention. Many Muslim scholars interpret the potential rebuilding of a Jewish temple as a clear sign of the final era. Interestingly, the Mount of Olives and the Golden Gate tie directly into these prophecies. The Mount of Olives, a site I've explored in detail in a previous video, holds both Jewish and Christian end-time significance. Meanwhile, the Golden Gate, sealed for centuries, is tied in Jewish tradition to the Messiah's arrival. Cracks in this ancient gate have fueled speculation, and for a full breakdown, my previous video explains its history, symbolism, and prophetic importance. These landmarks are more than historical sites. They are living symbols, woven into prophecy, faith, and imagination. Here's the connection to our current era. The spiritual preparations, the symbolism, and the geopolitical standoffs all occur under the watchful eyes of billions. The world is seeing a slow ideological shift, one that normalizes the idea of the Temple Mount changing, one step at a time. Symbolic acts, ceremonial gatherings, or even discussions in social media circles can ignite debates that transcend religion and politics. And as Thanksgiving approaches, there is a reflective angle. While millions of people give thanks at dinner tables across the world, Jerusalem reminds us of gratitude and vigilance in a different light. A gratitude for peace, and a reminder of the fragility of faith and life in a city where the stakes are spiritual, political, and human. It's a time to consider, while we celebrate, what would we do if history itself began to move under our feet? In this first part of our exploration, we've uncovered the living reality of Jerusalem, the tension in Gaza, the preparations of Jewish and Islamic traditions, and the prophetic weight of landmarks like the Mount of Olives and the Golden Gate. We've set the stage, but the story is far from over. In Part 2, we will dive deeper into modern claims about a third temple, social media prophecy, and the potential global consequences. We'll explore what might happen if ideology turns into action, and why the world is watching these 36 acres of stone more closely than ever before.